Woo! Woo! Oh! What up? No, you can't. Oh, dang it. Bummer. That'd be pretty cool. Hi, chat. How's it going? How we doing? Welcome back. Welcome back to the fun spot, the good times, the crazy music spaceship that we get to call my stream. Hello. How we doing? We know how Don't Know is doing. Don't Know is very verbal about how he's doing. Howdy, Papa. Howdy, Birdland. We got Super. We get the whole gang here. We love it. Oh, how's everybody doing? Oh, Birdland, you've caught me flat-footed, as they say. I just realized I don't have any water. Hang on, let me see something.
Supertonic said pre-flight check.
Boom, there we go. TTS is working. I think everything's working today. Let's double check OBS real quick. Nope, hang on, I gotta fix that. So many things to do. I need water. But fortunately, my husband is home from work today, so he can probably bring me some water. What is happening? Okay, feedback is working. Good. Almost. Hang on. I have things to fix. Guys, I'm so overwhelmed. Okay. Hi, Don't Know. How's it going? Okay, we need to fix this real quick. This is all a bit chaotic. Hang on. Okay, we need to reconnect this. I will say, one of the most annoying things in the world to me is that Lumia Stream, that controls the lights, and OBS, which is my streaming software, obviously. Everybody knows what OBS is. They communicate via a protocol called WebSocket. I don't really know anything about it. Is feedback fully not working now? What's happening? And every single time I launch my whole setup, I have to totally redo the WebSocket connection, which is very annoying. I think this is this working now?
Anathanskip wants
there we go.
feedback
Okay,
on their
it's working.
song.
Now, why is that? Okay, cool. There we go. There's feedback for you, and we will happily take a look at it. I also need to go plug part of my lights in. Hang on.
DNTKN0 Music wants feedback on their song.
Ha. Boom. There we go. WebSockets are just persistent connections between you and the server to exchange commands. That makes sense. That is indeed exactly what it does. Okay, let's pull up the feedback thing, because it is Feedback Friday, as the title suggests. I think we're figured out well. We got water coming that I can drink for Birdland. r/brand new sentence. We have OBS working. We have Lumia Stream working. Everything should be good now. Let's pull this up. But hi, chat. How is everybody? Is everybody having yourselves a grand Friday? I'm doing all right. Personally, I'm doing quite all right. We've got, as always, lots of very fun, cool things in the works. I ordered a super neat new little piece of gear. A very cheap piece of gear. A very old piece of gear, but a fun piece of gear. Sorry I missed stream last time and sleeping a lot. No worries. My magical assistant has handed me a glass of water. This is fantastic. My darling husband. There you go. Yes, we got to catch up here. Yeah, no worries, Don't Know. Sleep is important. Sleep is very important. But yeah, no, I ordered an original Novation Launchpad, which is a thing from like 2009. It's very old, but it's pretty slick. They have newer versions, but there's a very specific reason that I ordered the old version, which I will definitely talk about on stream at some point once I get it and get the thing that I bought it for set up. It's very cool, but that's exciting. Also got some kinks. If you guys, remember yesterday I was trying to do a talk through or a breakdown of some tracks for Aries, and there were a bunch of files missing in Studio One because of the fact that I reinstalled it. I got that sorted out thanks to PreSonus support. Toast is unfortunately out with my husband, but he will get lots of pets later. Don't worry. He's, I'm sure, already getting pet right now because they're out there chilling on the couch. So Toast is good, but on Fridays, Toast goes and hangs out there and gets love done. Doing research on game design documents. Excellent. Yeah, we can talk more about that. I definitely have some more ideas because game design documents are important. But let's go ahead and kick things off for Feedback Friday with our wonderful friend Don't Know here. And yeah, if anyone is watching who wants feedback on a track, it is oh, don't worry, Toast's like 10 feet that way. It's okay. He's just in the next room over. He's around, don't you worry. But my husband only has so many days off a week, and he enjoys being on the couch with the cat, so I don't want to rob him of that. Yes, thank you, Super. If anybody in chat wants feedback on one of your tracks, please do ! Feedback for feedback, as Super has just so helpfully indicated. Because it is Feedback Friday, and Feedback Friday is always a good time. But in between feedbacks, I want to do another track breakdown now that I can actually open my tracks properly and I have all the kits installed that they need to open. We're probably going to do that. We might do might talk through scales or something, modes. I don't know. We'll probably do a few little things like that. But let's go ahead and check out this from Don't Know. Good timing. Hey, Zach. What's up, buddy? We have 2 mods in chat today. Look out. Wrong one, but this is so dope. Too late.
ENTKN0 Music wants feedback on their song.
Too late. We already listened to it, and I already think it's sick, and it's great. Especially this. Oh. Oh. What is this? Where did you find this? You have a full track you've been working on for 12 hours. No wonder you've been sleeping. Dang. That's great. We love full tracks that we've been working on for 12 hours. Extremely neat. Well, yeah, send it in. Obviously, I'm not going to count that towards towards the track submission. That would be crazy. No, don't cry. It's fine. We're good. Everything is good. But yeah, I'm very here. Okay. Well, while you're doing that, I will show you guys. Let me show you guys something. Okay. This is going to be a little bit random, but years and years ago, many years ago, a device was released. Literally, this YouTube video is from 19 years ago. Before we had Akai APCs and launch pads and the vast diaspora of grid-based electronic music performance controllers that we have today, a guy called Brian Crabtree invented a thing called the Monome. This is the original grid controller. And the Monome was a very artsy-fartsy, super hipster. They're still around. It's still a company. They still make very fancy devices. But this was the first, to my knowledge, this was the very first grid-based controller anyone ever created. And it was called the Monome 40H. Very fancy, very sleek, very forward-thinking design for like 2006, I think, is when it came out. But it didn't work with any regular DAW. It worked with a custom set of max MSP applications. And you could kind of do anything with it. But when I was 14 years old, 15 years old, 16, something like that, when this very first came out, I saw this video on YouTube. And I saw one particular part of this video, which is... the first part of it's very cool. It's basically using it as a step sequencer. It's the kind of device with the kind of apps and stuff that runs on it that like you can't really explain verbally, but if you make music, the second you see it working, you're like, oh, I understand exactly what's going on. That's brilliant. So step sequencer, obviously, right? Very slick, very intuitive, very cool. The thing that I was obsessed with is this application that they made for it called MLR, or Monome Loop Recorder. Not this. This. Again, if you make music, you understand exactly what's going on here. You couldn't really like explain this to somebody, but yeah, for all the youngins watching, this is what a MacBook used to look like. Excellent. I love it. Yeah. So basically it's a loop chopping platform. So you load loops into each row of buttons and the loop plays. It gets sliced into 8 chunks and it plays, and then you can trigger it from anywhere inside of the loop and it keeps triggering from there. So you can essentially build like, and then you can record the patterns as you chop it. So you can really, it's kind of like beat repeat for Ableton, but instead of just like a knob that you turn up, it's an interactive sample slicing experience. So I have been confused AF for a very long time as to why this did not take off as an idea. It's very confusing to me that more people weren't like, this is the coolest thing in the universe, and I like, this is how all of electronic music should be performed. But it is the most obscure old piece of kit. So shortly after this, a bunch of other companies, and starting with Novation and the Launchpad, started releasing grid-based controllers. And of course, there was a hot moment in time where everybody was making like uh, uh, everybody was making like emulators to turn the Launchpad into a Monum so it could work with these applications. And then you had Max for Live, because all the Monum stuff was written in Max MSP, or created with Max MSP. And then they integrated Max MSP into Ableton. So I ordered an original Launchpad so that I could do this inside of Ableton. It's extremely exciting. It's very niche, but it's going to be very, very cool to play around with. And it's just such a unique vibe. I love it. So anyways, that's why we bought an original Launchpad. I love these things. What are these things? Virtual. Oh yeah, sure. The original one of these is called the Stylophone, which is very old. Very, very old school. They started making them again, but originally it's from the 60s. It's like a teeny tiny little synthesizer that you control with a little stylus. Very neat little pieces of music tech, absolutely. But in any case, all right, don't know. For real this time. Let's look at the track. Zoop. Let It Go. Oh, no. Is this a remix of Let It Go? It is a remix of Let It Go? Are you serious? I guess we'll find out. Okay. I figured. This is a phenomenal build. Don't know, if you don't release this, I'm going to be very upset with you. What's up, Avia? Can you make an entire song out of purely lines of code? I'm sure you can. Yeah, you could have something over the top of it, but I think it's perfect. I think it's perfect as is. That is extraordinarily strong work for 12 hours. Please release this. It's perfect. It needs nothing else. It's mastered pretty hot, but I'm not even going to yell at you about that. Go release this right now and put it everywhere and post about it and tell people about it. Good. Do it. I command you. I have absolutely no feedback for you other than it's fucking fantastic. A lot of people want me to. Yes, I'm among them. As the senior producer in the room, I command you. This is a direct order. No, to your earlier point, Super, about dimming the lights in different moods with channel points. That is hypothetically possible. The way that Lumia Stream, here, I will show you guys this just so you can see how Lumia Stream works. It's kind of nightmarish. This is Lumia Stream, and there you build all of the light sequences. There's scenes, reactions, animations, themes, and build-ups. And I managed to get the chatting. This is like what you guys normally see is chatting. And it basically is just a very complicated way of saying, hey, cycle between our basic RGB colors slowly. Other than that, I have other options here, but I cannot figure out for the life of me how to connect them to chat commands. Like I made this one the other day for which I called water for when I'm doing live looping, because I wanted something a little bit different for live looping. So you can see it's like all shades of blue and purple. But how you tie this to a chat command and just get it to loop endlessly until somebody else sends a different command, that I cannot figure out. It seems like you only have one slot, your default state slot, to assign these to. And then Unicorn, but it only lasts for so long. And I want you guys to just be able to change the lights as you see fit. But you can trigger it, but even the Unicorn one, this is this. But it only lasts for so long. And then it goes back to the default. So I don't understand. It's not the most intuitive program. The lights are not specifically the lights are from a company called Lifx, Lifx. And they're just regular little bulbs. They're like Philips Hue bulbs. That's the company. But Lumia Stream is one of the only compatible streaming things with them. So, programs that will integrate them into OBS and Twitch and all this stuff. So I don't know. Send generic colors to Lumia Stream with full control of brightness, transition. Yes. So no, yes, I know this. It's a little tricky because it's all local. And to be fully honest, I have so many bits and bobs going on these days with Stream that I have an ever-growing list of. I mean, thank you. No, I love them. I think they're very cool. And then I recently I added, see the little light in the middle that's cycling differently. That's a neat little. It's not connected to anything. It's just there for extra ambiance. And control it via code. I mean, sure. If you want to research into it, I certainly won't. I won't stop you. But you set it all up, as far as I understand, locally, and it connects directly just on my machine to OBS via WebSocket. So if there's a way for you to control it remotely more directly than just using chat commands, you are welcome to be my lighting guy that just screws around and builds cool scenes and stuff. That would honestly be super fun. I think that would be neat as hell. especially when I'm doing the live looping stuff. Interesting. Okay. I mean, that would be pretty wild. Working on another idea with the Signal. Send it to you and share work chat if anyone. You'll become a little. Yes, my LD. You can be my LD. Is what we call that in the business. Lovely. Excellent. I love it. Yeah, go work on it. Well, here, since we're vibing, I'm just anybody else who wants feedback, it's Feedback Friday. You guys know the deal. ! Feedback. In the meantime, I'm actually here. I want to show you guys something else since we're just kind of vibing and having fun here. Give me a second. I got to get something set up. But I want to show you guys what's going on with the live, because I keep talking about live looping and then like not doing it. So I just want to show you guys like what I'm working on. I may try to play through the first track that I have assembled in Ableton. But mainly what I want to show off, and Super, you'll love this, I think. I have commandeered my drum throne. Where is it? Oh, where's the little thing? There you are. I have commandeered my own drum throne and attached this ridiculous pole onto it, which I'm sure looks completely insane. But there's a very good reason that it looks a bit insane. Is that working? Okay, here. We gotta do one thing real quick here. Is this working? Oh, I need to turn... Wait, you are on. We actually have to turn you on, though, don't we? This is going to be very cool, I promise. Give me moments, give me moments. Let's make sure this is functioning correctly. It is. Okay. So with the live looping. Oh, where is it? Yes, GoPro webcam. There we go. Ha 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 ha. Look at that shit. You guys have never actually seen my full setup, I realize. This is more or less what I see. So this is the whole idea for the live looping situation. Is, you know, obviously I can just kind of spin around and do all the things that I do. But if this should all be working fine, right? Oh, we need to turn this up. Yes, top-down view. It's a little weird, and I can't really do it for like normal content because it's on my drum throne and I sit up against the pole that's carrying a GoPro. And this would be very uncomfortable to sit like this for like 3 hours unless I'm like actively spinning around and playing. But I think it's going to be very, very neat. I don't have this audio figured out yet because oh, very good, Zach. Yes. YouTube shorts are a thing now. Absolutely. Yes, you can see all of my MIDI controllers. Remember how I said I have like 9? I have this for my drums, this for hand drums, audio interface. Then I have these, which is 2 separate controllers. I have this, which is my mix controller. I have the APC 40 Mark II. And then I have both of these. And I have another one on the way that's going to go here for the MLR situation that I was showing off a moment ago. But here, let's I should practice this anyways. I will probably screw it up because, as you will see, this is very, very complicated. You guys are also going to hear the metronome, which is something that the camera is rotating. Oh, yeah, absolutely. No, so the camera tracks everything that I'm doing because it's literally attached to my chair. And that's not anything fancy. That's literally, I strapped a mic stand to my drum throne. And then there's a GoPro. Here, I'll show you, sitting above my head. Zoop. There's the GoPro. But I also got it set up to where the webcam, my Ozbot webcam now just tracks me. I mean, I know it's, again, I got to like dig the seat out and get it all connected. And I cannot sit like this for 3 or 4 hours when I'm doing like feedback or normal production. It'll kill my back. Because I literally have a mic stand like digging into the small of my back when I sit like this. I can do it for like an hour or 2 if I'm doing live looping stuff. The next thing that I have to figure out though is how to route audio so that you guys don't hear my metronome. But I'll do a track that I've been working on. If anybody recognizes it, you get 5 points. Yeah, most likely. Hey, that went so well. I've been practicing that for like 3 days. And I successfully executed it. And there were only 2 small mistakes that probably weren't all that noticeable. Anyway, full on success. More or less. There were a few moments in there that was like, oops, that's not how that's supposed to go. But yes, that's the live looping concept. What do we think, chat? Please. I see a bunch of you watching, and I know everybody's lurking. And that's totally okay. Normally, I love my lurkers, but I do want to know. Would you guys vibe out to that for like an hour, a few times a week? Would you pull that up on YouTube? Just a bunch of grooves kind of in that general style and throw it on while you did dishes or made dinner or, you know. And the camera even follows me now. Obviously, the overhead one does, but my webcam also follows me around, which is pretty neat, if you ask me. That was fun. That went really well, actually. I'm very pleased with that. Okay, let me get back in my regular chair here. And get this started back up. Because now my back hurts. And then we'll continue doing other things for Feedback Friday. Let's see here. What all do I need to do? See, Super, this is why I can't really just like hot swap back and forth between that camera and everything else. Because now I have to like untangle everything. So first we'll do that. We'll turn off tracking there. Unplug that. Turn off the GoPro. Move that out of the way. Okay, great. Comfort. Neat. There you go. Oh, that went well. That felt good. That sounded like a song, right? It wasn't boring. I also kind of worry that it's just going to be a little loopy and repetitive and boring. But for that, that's why I got the MLR thing coming, the old school launchpad coming, because I feel like that'll help like spice it up and add some nice texture. Anyway, live looping. All right. Thanks for hanging out for that, guys. I hope it was vaguely enjoyable. I certainly enjoyed it. Let's get out of Ableton and let's jump back into Studio One. What should we do now, guys? It's Feedback Friday, so we're still just waiting and vibing and seeing if anybody wants feedback on anything. Please hop into chat. I am always down to check out some tracks from whoever. But barring that, we will. What else can we do? Let's do another track breakdown, I suppose. Because there was one specific track from Aries that I really wanted to look at yesterday, which was Office, but I was having problems with samples showing up in Studio One. Because I just reinstalled it. If you remember my giant rant from yesterday. WTFR modes. That's a great one. We'll do another track breakdown for Aries because I want that for content for next week. We'll do WTF or modes for sure, and then maybe we'll do some other WTFs. I'm also kind of annoyed because my thingamabob, OBS failed to record my vertical speed yesterday, which was pretty infuriating to me. But that's okay. We'll give it another chance today. let's jump back over into producer review. Yeah, my other plan is to take a bunch of the tracks that you guys hear. Like, I want to do some covers. Like, that was a cover of an Alicia Keys tune. But I have so many great, like, lo-fi-ish tracks that are, that you guys hear at the beginning of stream every day and in the background music. Oh, my husband has texted me. No, it's all right. He's like, do you want me to bring toast? I'm like, no, toast is chilling with you. It's okay. But no, so I'm going to take and port a bunch of those tracks out of Studio One and into Ableton so that I can jam along with them live. That is the ultimate point. I would love to get it up to a point where I have a good handful of like original, vibes. And then kind of intersperse those with like covers like that. I think would be neat. Linux stuff. I barely. How comfortable are you doing firewall? Not at all. I barely know how to set up a firewall on Windows. I am quite. There are certain parts of computers that I'm extremely savvy about. Certain parts of computers that I am super not savvy about at all. Yeah, I mean, I know like generally how to set rules in a firewall. I use Simple Wall because it is easy. And seems to be very effective. And you can just kind of click on a program and be like, no. And it's like, yes, no. Or you can click on a program and be like, yes. And it's like, yes. That's about my extent of experience with firewalls. But I'm still just on Windows at the moment. Yeah, that's kind of what I figured, Super. So I don't know what the best solution is for any of that side of things. But, we'll figure it out. Anyways, let's take a look at another Aries track here. This is the one that I wanted to show off. There are workarounds. Okay, interesting. I love it. So this is another track from Aries, stealth action VR game being developed in Roblox. It has pretty impressive AAA style visuals, especially considering that it is a Roblox game. We took a look at I talk about Aries pretty frequently, and we've listened to tunes from it over the past, since I made them, really, because I did a lot of this stuff on stream. But I wanted to go back and actually do full track breakdowns, because back when I was working on this stuff, my stream was not very big or well attended at all. No, it's insane what the devs are doing. They are incredibly, incredibly talented kids. So I wanted to just go back through and do track breakdowns on all the tracks because A, I'm very proud of them. I'm very, very pleased with how they came out. And B, they're like very fun. And C, I think that there's a lot of really interesting production stuff that I was able to put together on these that is just very interesting to take a look at and addresses a lot of cool different ideas within video game scoring, particularly in this style, in like a stealth action kind of Splinter Cell homage situation. Because that's exactly the vibe of the game. It's very much a slightly more sci-fi nod to Splinter Cell, Metal Gear, a ton of different titles like that. So yesterday we looked at the tune Facility, I think, Ground Floor, which is cool. But personally, my favorite one on the entire OST, I like all of them for different reasons, but Office is also very cool. So there's a lot of similarities, but a lot of differences, and obviously a bunch of different sounds. So we have a similar structure with the OST version, right? Because we have these three different versions of the track, and then we combine those three versions of the track into the OST. Because we're doing an adaptive implementation, we need three different layers for gameplay. We have the ambiance layer. Then, hey, what's up, Jekla? How's it going? Back at you, friend. We have the ambiance layer, which is, all of this is tied to enemy alert states. So when the enemies are just vibing, right? And they haven't detected you or aren't suspicious of anything. They're at, call it level 1. And so that is when our ambience layer is playing back. If they become suspicious and they raise to sort of alert level 2, it swaps over to the suspicion layer. And if you go into full combat mode, sort of level 3 alert level, it pulls into the full combat track. So I then, after producing all of those, I then took all of them and cut them together into the OST version for people to listen to on the final release of like the album version of the OST, right? So we'll go ahead and listen. This one's a little bit shorter, so we will listen through. We will listen all the way through to the track, so you can hear the whole thing, and then we'll go back through and break down each element of it. And we will fix that, because that is not how that is supposed to sound at all. So there you go. Office. And this is the track for the second area of the game. So there's like 4 main areas that you play through, followed by a sort of final encounter. And you start in a medical bay, then you go into like an office type area, then you work your way down into the depths of the facility, then you end up in these caverns on your way to the final area, and then you have what's called the Pearl Gate, which is like the end game sequence. But so, like I was talking about yesterday with the other track, I was very interested in the idea of like diegetic sound design for this whole game and for taking elements of each of those areas and using them as a part of the music production. So because this takes place in kind of an office setting, it's a lot of desks, wood paneled walls, et cetera, et cetera. I was like, how can I express that idea or that vibe musically? So I ended up taking a bunch of samples of office related stuff. So like paper being torn, my printer, clicking on mice, typing on a keyboard, and recorded all those elements and structured them into a groove, or at least part of the groove. So if I take all of the effects off, well, come here. This is what it sounds like. And so we have paper being torn. We then have my printer printing a document. Right? We then have crazy of you. Absolutely crazy. That's clicking on a mouse. And then I think this is, or no, that's clicking on a mouse. This is typing on a keyboard. Right? So all sort of office-ish kinds of sounds. And then a little bit of compression here and there, a little bit of saturation, bit crushing, distortion, all of these kinds of things. And you end up with this very cool kind of topper that runs alongside our main groove. Where's my kick drum? Why is my kick drum? Oh, there's my kick drum. Here we go. Here's the full groove. Right? So it blends in there and doesn't necessarily feel like, oh, that's, office stuff. Like it's not immediately identifiable, but it definitely lends to like a vibe of the whole thing. Right? And that's kind of, that's how I like to layer my grooves, is to where you can't necessarily explicitly pick out any individual element, but they all kind of slosh together into just like a big cool groove. Because there's also like, some hand percussion stuff in there, shaker, tambourine, maracas and tambourine, I think. So that's most of the elements that we have going on with the drums through the kit, or through the track. But we have a bunch of other stuff. So if we go back to the very, very beginning, we have this lovely pad-ish sound, which is Ethereal Earth. Again, I love Ethereal Earth. I use it all the time. Lots and lots of great, great, great sounds. But we also have another diegetic element, which is this sample that I found of a fluorescent light. And when you mix those two together, this is the ambiance layer of the in-game stuff. Right? So again, just kind of setting a sense of place in the track. Diegetic sound design, right? Then, when the full track drops in, we have this really nice kind of alarmish string pad, which I have... What do we have on this guy? Probably X-Trem, right? Yeah, so I'm using X-Trem basically as an envelope shaper to make it feel like it's instead of it just being a one smooth pad, it kind of gives it some rhythmic structure, right? And then we also have the TB303 from Arturia is like a big... oh, come on. It's complaining about things. We have the TB303 or acid from Arturia, which is like one of the main components of the track. So that builds over this little ambiance section. And then, of course, we've got our like sort of sparkly texture things going on. All our crashes, reversed crashes, this nice reversed kind of bell sound. Which, if I remember correctly, in my box of like percussion tricks back there, I have a front desk bell that you would see in like a motel. I'm pretty sure that's a recording of that pitched down and reversed. So again, a little more sort of diegetic concept in there. And then halfway through this, what's up, Crack Baby? How's it going? Good to see you again. Halfway through this sort of intro section, we are doing a breakdown on a track I did for a video game, Crack Baby. We have this string layer that comes in. Which is very like Jason Bourne-ish, reminds me a lot of the stuff in the Jason Bourne soundtracks. Was kind of my inspiration for that. And that's another element that's kind of hanging out throughout the track. We also then have this big, glorious, super dark cinematic piano sound courtesy of Keyscape. Then our bass drops in, which is another real, pretty straightforward, like real bass tone. So we've got Amplitude again with our Ampeg SVT emulation. And then we're using this octave pedal, which this is like a sort of little module version of an Ampeg octave pedal from the 70s. That sounds amazing. Super deep. So very cool, very like Ocean's 11 kind of a bass tone there. And a lot of my bass tones I model after Tim LaFave. If anybody knows who Tim LaFave is, he's a phenomenal bass player who's toured with all kinds of super cool people, but he also played on all the Ocean's movies soundtracks. And there's so many, he's kind of a master of like pedals and cool bass tones. And there are so many amazing bass tones on those Ocean's soundtracks. They're kind of like whatever, love them or hate them movies. But if you go listen to the soundtracks, they're actually fantastic. It's incredibly cool music. So we've got that string part up there doing some different sort of more chromatic-y kind of stuff. Very kind of old James Bondy, again, kind of Jason Bourne-y strings. That is horrifying, Crack Baby. That is absolutely horrifying. So here we transition into this kind of like B section concept. And that's really like the hallmark of a lot of this stuff. I was talking, this is true of all of the tracks on Aries. There is a ton of automation, especially around these transitions, doing all kinds of different stuff on the transition points. So like right here, we have our Glitch 2 plugin that you guys know I love very, very much. This plugin gives you the ability to sequence effects as if they were kind of like MIDI events almost, and like essentially like gate effects in a very rhythmic fashion. So the way that I usually use it is I will build a cool pattern out of it, and then just use automation to turn it on and off or bring the mix in and out, to kind of use it to create dynamic and sort of randomized drum fills and kind of glitch transitions throughout the track. So we have a lot of that going on. We have a lot of filter sweeps, which I'm using DJM filter, which is a great, I think it's free actually, great little filter plugin to do those transitions. And then, and so I'm bussing all of the rhythmic elements down into a beat sort of bus or send, and all of the instrument tracks down into an instrument send. It's like all my drums, percussion, everything's going to the beat bus, and then everything else is going to the instrument bus. So it allows me to treat them separately, you know, kind of as two separate elements, and do effects and do automation on them separately, while not having to worry about going through and doing it on a ton of different channels, right? So we go into this sort of B section, and the main thing that kicks in, well, we have two main things that kick in. One, the bass actually drops out, which is kind of interesting, because it leaves you suddenly, it like really changes the tonal character of the whole track and lends to a sense of like kind of unsettledness at the beginning of this section. But we also have these super grindy guitars. Which again is my 8-string, and that's just me bending really slowly up to mimic what our Mini Freak is doing. So this is Mini Freak from Arturia. Yes, I know Arturia. I reinstalled everything and you think nothing's licensed. It's okay. Hey, excuse me. Hang on. This is an extremely important, yeah, I know. So here we have Mini Freak from Arturia. And I started with this preset, Too Dirty to Handle. And then I'm just playing with the pitch wheel a little bit. And tons of effects on this. Huge amount of compression. Abbey Road Saturator to give some really intense top-end saturation and distortion. And then Stereo Maker from Plugin Alliance. Really, really, really nice sound. And it's, again, being essentially doubled by what the guitars are doing. So then right there, we have this really crazy ass transition, right? Which is, I'll break down. It's a bunch of shit happens all at once. That transition took an enormous amount of work to get right. But the guitars, it's like a little palm. It's not super palm muted, but it's a little bit muted and played a little bit softer here before the transition. And then once we get out of the transition, I opened it up a little bit and let it ring out a little bit more for more intensity. And then the bass also drops back in, doing the same, that same kind of bendy thing. And then we also have this guy that shows up. Which is sample 1. I actually don't even remember what this is. Let's find out what this is. Lord knows we have enough effects on it. Oh. That's probably one of my little hand pan. I have a couple little metal tongue drums. So that is a sample of a little metal tongue drum that I just hit once, and then I flew into sample 1. And then again, just ton of effects. Well, not even a ton of effects. Tremolo to really chop it and give it good rhythmic presence. A little bit of ring modulation, and then Elysia Character. This is a great saturation and distortion plugin. What's up, you boy? So that's everything that's going on here through that goes into the second section. But so what exactly is going on with this transition? Great question. A lot of shit is going on with this transition. Like if you look at my automation lanes, a ton of things are happening. So the first thing is I'm muting a bunch of stuff. And if you guys could see my control surface, you would see right just for that transition, like half the faders in my session go zoop, zoop. Because I'm literally muting things to cut off tails of reverbs and delays and synth tails and all this kind of stuff so that it's really clean and really tight. So that's the first thing that's going on. Then we have a couple of different little textures. So that's like some reversed guitars, right? We also have a few little percussion sounds. Prodigy vibes for sure. Absolutely. I love that. and very accurate. So like we have like this bell sound, which obviously has like a huge reverb on it that gets thrown up at the very end of the sound. But we also have this tremolo, really fast tremolo. And if you listen to just this sound, and we look at our automation here, I'm automating the speed control on the tremolo to go from super fast to basically nothing. And you can see it so that it has the effect of going right? In terms of how it's chopping, but doing it very, very quickly. We then have a second sound here, which I think, if I remember correctly, is like a scream of some kind. Yeah. So that's a pitched down. Somebody had sent me one of those like distorted meme screams. I pitched it way down. It's effectively just like a really aggressive kind of white noise vibe. Some stereo separation using real ADT. Again, same trick with the tremolo. Right? Some bit crushing and EQ, which we are automating for the big, really, really fast filter sweep. And all this is completely dry while the sounds themselves are happening. And then the reverb kicks back in at the tail end of it. So there's the three main sounds in the transition. Everything else comes from the automation of those filter sweeps. So leading up into it, on our buses, like I was talking about, we have we have DJM filters sweeping up on everything. And then we're sending everything into a huge reverb, and that reverb is just muted while that little one drop transitions thing is happening. And then that reverb tail kicks back in with all the rest of the instruments. So it took a long time to put all of that together. And I didn't even really have a plan other than I wanted just a big, cool transition and what we call a one drop, where the first beat of the next section kind of goes away. Can you make a rap beat after this? Probably not. At least not today. I certainly have made lots and lots and lots of rap beats before. And the combined effect just makes that second beat on the section hit like an absolute truck, right? So more filter sweeps and stuff going out of this section back into something that's more similar to the first section, but now we have some of these more melodic elements coming in here. So our piano starts doing some bigger chords. We have this kind of ARPy sound, very spy, very stealth kind of a sound that comes in. And then we have a couple of different... We still have that ARP. We still have that ARP from the 303, but then we have this really nice kind of lead bell sound, which is actually ADL. So this is an emulator that mimics the Yamaha YMF 262 sound chip that you would find in like really old Sound Blaster sound cards from the 90s. You get a lot of very classic video game sounds with this plugin, and I have used this plugin on entire tracks and soundtracks before to get like a very authentically early 90s kind of game music vibe. Very simple FM synth. But I'm taking it here and, you know, again, plenty of effects. Or not even plenty, but we're using Wolf compressor to just really totally blow it out with the, you know, transient wise. And then cassette to give that, you know, really nice like lo-fi vibe. And then we're sending it into Seventh Heaven for some nice verb. And then just analog delay, which is built into Studio One for some delay. So like there's a character to it that is reminiscent of old game music. But it's also like, you know, very modern and very clean at the same time. So again, there's that glitch 2 coming in, giving us those dynamic kind of glitchy transitions. And halfway through, our strings join that synth on playing that melody. Right? Just to kind of lush it out a little bit. Piano starts doing some bigger figures, and I think is also following that melody. Yeah. So like this is really where the keys get nice and lush. Very cool stuff there. Our guitars come in playing a little bit of rhythm guitar. Just vibing out on top of the bass, and then all our same groove elements. And this whole time, again, we've got all this cool office-y kind of percussion layer stuff. With the printer and the paper. All vibing along. And then we drop it down for an outro. And then to close the tune out, strip it back down to just that like office percussion layer and fade it out. So that's the OST version. I'm extremely pleased with this one. I think I worked for so long on this transition in the middle there. And I am so pleased with how it came out. But what all of this started with was the actual in-game versions. So, you know, again, everything is tied to the enemy alert level, and you have Not alerted at all, level 1. Then you have suspicious, level 2. And then you have full combat alert mode, level 3. And so the way that we're handling it in engine, Roblox doesn't have a direct implementation for anything like Fmod or WIs or anything like that, at least that I'm aware of, or that the developers are aware of. So they're coding the adaptive implementation themselves. And we decided the easiest way to do it was actually to have 3 different versions of the track all playing and looping simultaneously that are all exactly the same length. And then just use the engine to basically switch which track is active and cover that transition with a sting, like a sound cue. So I built that, which is just a big like alarm kind of a sound. And that covers the transition between these 3 different versions. So this is the ambiance layer. So this is alert level 1. The enemy is not aware of your presence at all. It's really just pure ambiance. You've got a little bit of that fluorescent light, which is kind of a sound cue for the level itself because there's fluorescent lighting overhead the whole time. A few little tiny office-y sounds. You like a little creak of a door, a little click of a mouse, just little stuff to kind of keep the player engaged. And then this awesome ethereal earth patch being very kind of Akira Yamaoka Silent Hill in the background, just unsettling kind of ambiguous voicings. Then alert level 2. This is just suspicion, right? So you're not in active combat. This is like the enemy's looking for you, or you've just escaped and they're now searching for you. So it's not a big full groove. There's no kick drum. There's no snare drum. It's all just kind of like toppers and tension. The only real like low frequency information we have are those big stings on the piano to just provide a little bit of extra drama. But this is all about tension. And we've got big like filter sweep, slow filter sweeps going on, bandpass filter sweeps going on with all of our percussion elements to give it that like morphing, evolving, kind of, you know, spy vibes. Thank you, Super. Indeed. I'm glad I accomplished that. And then, of course, alert level 3. Well, that's why the piano is so loud. Is, you know, the bulk of the main groove. From the OST version, but just packaged in a perfectly loopable format, right? And so all 3 of these versions loop seamlessly. But they're all exactly the same length, obviously exactly the same tempo, same key. The changes and the transitions you can see are like in essentially the same places. So like we've got 8 bars of intro, then 16 bars of a groove idea, then however many bars, what is that? Essentially like 16 bars of our B idea, and then 16 bars of our C idea. And that structure is reflected in the suspicion layer as well. That's by design, because as all 3 of these tracks are looping concurrently, they need to be able to transition in and out of each other and always feel emotionally appropriate, but be interesting enough to each stand on their own as a musical idea, right? Because it's not like there's some big complicated system that's tracking the tempo and is only letting it transition on, you know, downbeats or whatever. They're literally all just looping in parallel. And then Roblox is just going, zoop, now it's this one. Zoop, now it's that one. Zoop, now it's this one, based on the enemy alert state. So it might drop the player into the combat track here. But that's immediately identifiable as a combat track, whether it drops in there or here. It doesn't really matter. Just like with the Suspicion track, whether it drops in here or here, it doesn't entirely matter. It all feels like a Suspicion layer. And same thing with the ambiance layer. So that's that part of it. And then at the end of putting all those together and getting approval from the developers, then I went back a little while later when we were thinking about the actual OST release and put together the OST version, which is just a creatively edited amalgamation of all 3 tracks. So it's been an incredibly fun game to work on. It's been an incredibly fun soundtrack to put together, and it's some of the work that I am the proudest of everything that I've ever made. And the coolest part about it was that the developers basically, like, you know, I start every single interaction with the developer in the same way. When I reach out or they reach out to me or, you know, however we connect, the first thing that I am concerned with is tell me everything about your game and the world and the characters and what the level design is going to look like, what the mechanics are. Like, I want to know as much about your game as possible. Because that is going to inform every single musical decision that I make. And we talk about references, we talk about other games that we love, we talk about things that we, you know, want it to sound like. From all that, I'll usually craft kind of a pitch of, well, left to my own devices, this is kind of what I would do with the music. This is a direction that I would take it in. Send them my own references, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And then from there, you know, we'll decide on a direction together. With this project, we all kind of, in my conversations with the devs, we aligned very closely on what we thought. And they were like, you know what, this sounds great. Go for it. Do your thing. Do kind of whatever you want. And we're confident it will be great. And it's very flattering to hear that. And it's very cool to have somebody trust you in that way. But what came out the other end is something that I think is pretty cool and pretty special. So the game is still in development, and they have not, you know, told me a release date yet, certainly, or announced a release date yet, but I'm really hoping it comes soon because I'm extremely pleased with the music and extremely proud of the music. So for opportunity to talk about game design documents. I mean, yeah, sure. I mean, we can talk about that one-on-one a little bit later. I don't, like, I'm not a dev, right? Like, I've worked with a lot of devs and I've seen a lot of devs prep their projects in different ways. But I'm not an authority, I don't think, when it comes to like really dev specific stuff, if I'm being honest. Cause I'm not a game dev, like, you know, but, in any case, I mean, I have my own like organizational documentation, which I was showing you, super, like my spreadsheets and stuff. That's how I keep my end of things organized. That I think is helpful. You just said sounds like the exact opposite of what you told me yesterday. Yeah, we can chat about that one-on-one. I mean, the bottom line is like the idea of a game design document is completely different, I think, to every single developer. It's all just like general prep materials. So that can look like a lot of different things to a lot of different people. Regardless. But yeah, so that is that track. I'm very pleased with it. I'm very proud of that one. But on that note, what should we do next? Here, I'm going to do another unrelated thing. Hang on, give me a second here. Because I was having an issue with OBS yesterday, and I want to see and make sure that this does the thing. Yes, modes. Did that work? Yes, that worked. Did that work? Yes, that worked. Okay, great. So let's start that again. Awesome. Very good. Fantastic. Okay, great. Yeah, we can talk about modes for a minute. Modes are pretty straightforward, actually. Modes are pretty straightforward and easy. Before we do that, though, I need to go grab a thing real quick. Give me a moment. Give me a moment. Yeah, I gotta go. And I'm gonna go check in with my husband for a second. But I'll be back in like 45 seconds. Alrighty. Okay, let's jump over to here and get this going. Yay! It works. Yay, Keyscape. Yay, lovely keyboard, or lovely piano sound. Let's pull up something more fun, though, for this. Give me, what do we want? Classic Rhodes Suitcase Shimmer. What's that all about? That's a bit much. That's also a bit much. Turn off the tremolo. That's a lovely Rhodes sound. Listen to that. Rich. Rich, buttery, and delicious. Hey, Juby, how's it going? You're just in time for our lesson about modes, Juby. Let's talk about modes, shall we? Modes are so much simpler than you might think they are. Modes start with the concept of a major scale, right? If we were to use intervals, we would say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, right? Key of C, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Super simple. We all know our major scale. But what's locked inside of our major scale is a very, very powerful secret that will take your songwriting and your understanding of chord progressions to a whole new level, which is that hiding inside of our major scale are a bunch of other scales. What do I mean by that? Well, if we just play a C major scale starting on C and ending on C, we get our basic C major scale. But what if we start that scale and end that scale, same exact notes, but we started and ended on the note D? That sounds like a minor scale, doesn't it? It sounds like a minor scale because it is a minor scale. C major, same notes from the C major scale, but D to D gets us a D Dorian minor. This is a system that we call modes, and we can do this starting and ending on every single note within the key. Let's burn them through. C major, we call the Ionian mode. It's the first one. D, second note, is a minor scale called a Dorian minor. The second mode, Dorian. E, third, we call a Phrygian. This is the Phrygian mode, also a form of minor scale. F is another type of major scale called a Lydian scale. Then G gives us a Mixolydian, or a dominant chord. A gives us a true natural minor scale. Sixth mode, it's called Aeolian. The seventh mode starts on B and ends on B. It's called Locrian. It sounds terrible, and nobody really uses it for anything. Don't worry about Locrian. We kind of ignore that it exists. And then that brings us back around to our basic C major scale. So why is this so useful and why is this so important? Well, those are all a bunch of really fancy words and names, right? Phrygian, Aeolian, yada, yada, yada. What you really want to... Oh, Synox Music. Hey, thanks so much for the follow. I appreciate it. What you really want to worry about here is your triads, right? If we think about chords and just simple three-note chords, major chords, right? The first, the third, and the fifth of each chord. That's what makes up each chord. If we play that shape in this way of using our modes, we suddenly realize that we have a bunch of really useful chords that are all related to the C scale. Right? So we have C major, D minor, E minor, F major, and G major, and then A minor. Right? All of those different chords are hiding within our simple C major scale. So you can start building chord progressions and chord sequences out of these sort of common chords. Right? All using notes from the C major scale. And this, at least for me, when I was a kid, and I very first learned about modes, it totally blew my mind, because what you'll find is that the vast majority of popular songs out there, kind of doesn't matter what genre it is, but certainly pop music, a lot of rock music, a lot of country, for sure, a ton of country. Almost every song is going to have chords that function what we call diatonically. And that word, diatonic, means it is part of one standard scale, right? One standard Western major scale. So you have all kinds of classic, very, very classic chord progressions. Like all your, like 1, 5, 6 chord progressions, which is what that is. Anything, 4, 5, 1. Everybody's heard that sequence of chords there. Your classic 2-5-1 resolution is all diatonic, all fits within this system. And so having a really good understanding of your modes and your scales is going to allow you to break down and analyze a ton of songs, a ton of different chord progressions, write a ton of songs, and come up with a ton of your own unique chord progressions very, very easily without having to worry a ton about crazy chord extensions and voicings and all this stuff. Fundamentally, most music that you hear is going to use these very simple chord shapes that all live inside of one scale. You still don't get it. I'm sorry. That's terribly unfortunate. What are you having trouble understanding? I'm happy to clarify. We're just essentially building all of those chords out of notes of the C major scale. And we're looking at starting each chord on an individual note of the C major scale. So C, E, G gives us a triad, right? D, which is the second note of the C major scale. If you follow that same pattern, you get a D minor chord. We're building triads using the notes of the C major scale. No black keys, that's correct. In the key of C. This, of course, applies to any key. So if we were to say, take the key of, I don't know. Let's do a weird one. E flat. Would be E flat major. Our E flat scale would be E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, C, D natural, E flat. So let's build our triads. E flat, G, and B flat. Second note of the E flat scale is F. Build a triad from the F. Using the notes of the E flat scale, we get F, A flat, and C. Minor chord. Do the same thing starting on G. G, B flat, D. All notes of the E flat major scale gives us a G minor chord. A flat major, B flat major, C minor, right? Works in absolutely any key. C is just the easiest one to understand because it's all natural notes. It's those sharps, no flats. But it gives us a very clean and simple structure to know you can kind of just move that shape anywhere and it might not sound perfect, but you're going to have a chord progression that at least functions okay. Right? That's literally just moving the triad shape randomly around on white keys. And that works because of our modes. It's interesting because when I learn a scale, since so many songs are diatonic, I'm able to remember a song from the top of my head. Exactly. Takes a long while for me to do it from memory, but yeah. No, and that's exactly when I'm learning songs like for a gig, I'm thinking of everything in terms of intervals and those chord relationships. So I don't think of it as, it's C major, then G major, then A minor, then F major. I think 1, 5, 6, 4 in C. Because diatonic, this system of modes and the idea of it being diatonic to the key of C tells me the chord qualities of each of those chords, right? And in the most basic form, how does C Ionian different from C Phrygian? So C Ionian is just the C major scale, right? C Phrygian would tell you that you're in the key of A flat because C would be the third note in the A flat scale, right? So a C Phrygian scale would be C, D flat, E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, C. which would put you in the key diatonically of A flat major. Right? So you can also think about each of these modes as their own kind of starting point. And when we do that, we start to think of them in terms of intervals and alterations. So like if you were to play all of those scales, but start them all on the same note. So like C Phrygian sounds like that. A C Dorian scale sounds like that, right? In doing that, you're changing what key you're in every single time. So a C Phrygian, again, would mean that you're in the key of A flat. So you would play D flat, E flat, F, G, A flat, B flat, C. Different key with a different starting point. Exactly. So, and like the way I look at that is like a Phrygian scale is 1, flat 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, 1. As opposed to a natural minor scale has flat 3, flat 6, flat 7. A dominant or a mixolydian has just a flatted 7th. Dorian minor has flat 3, flat 7, but a natural 6, which is what gives it its lovely, mysterious quality. I love Dorian. Right? But that's like getting a little bit beyond the basics of it. Really what the basics are is just inside of your major scale, you actually have 6 different scales. It's all just what note you start and end on. And using those scales to build chords gives you a ton of different options for chord progressions that all exist within the same key. The other really, really nice thing about this is it makes soloing, improvising, and writing melodies 1,000 times easier. So if we just do a simple chord progression here in the key of C, right? Just totally random off the top of my head, all very, very simple and straightforward. And we loop that. Even though those are all different chords, if you're trying to write a melody over that, you don't have to think about every single time one of those chords change. Oh, now it's this chord and I have to think of a completely new scale. You can literally just mechanically with your hand think C major the entire time. So if I wanted to solo over that, or write melodies over it, I'm literally just, you could literally just play the C major scale up and down. Right? Very, very, very easy. It just keeps everything. It's a great and very functional way to organize everything very efficiently, very quickly, and it makes writing melodies a lot easier. It makes understanding how to play different songs and analyze different songs much easier. It is so useful. Thank you, Jimmy. I'm glad. It's like a great, good, fundamental concept that I think everybody should be very, very familiar with. And it's, for me, it was the thing that took chords and it took them from something that was very like, oh God, there's so much memorization here, and I have to, every single chord, I just have to, yes, I do, Juby. All this is going out on socials. It's something where it's like, instead of having to be like, oh, I have to memorize C major and C minor and every kind of minor and every kind of major and all for C, and then I have to do it all for C sharp and then do it all for D. It gives you a framework to where your hands just kind of understand what's going on. What's up, the Hibs? How's it going?
The
Good to
Hibs
see ya.
wants feedback on their
Ooh,
song.
excellent. Yes, I would be happy to give you feedback on your track, Hibs. Good to see you. We were just talking about modes and chord progressions. Your hands never understand what's going on. Yeah, it happens to the best of us. And then when you get a really good command of modes, chord, all of these concepts that I've been talking about, whether it's, modes, voice leading, inversions, all these different things kind of come together and give you the ability to do lots of very, very fun things. Hibs, sorry, I should have said a moment ago. The feedback link there takes you to a little Google form. If you don't mind filling that out for me real quick, gives you a place to put a link to your track. Tells me a little bit more about you, what you're looking for feedback on, all that kind of stuff. Let me know in chat when you have done so. But here's a little extra credit for you guys. Done? Awesome. We'll take a look in just a second. A little bit of extra credit for you guys, though. Because you can look at modes from the other direction, too. And instead of saying, okay, what are all the modes of C and what chords do those give me? There is also a way of sort of playing or writing chord progressions, which is what we would call modal chord progressions, where it's kind of the opposite. You're trying to, instead of staying in one key, you're taking one modal scale shape, like say minor, like an Aeolian minor or a Dorian minor, right? Let's say that's our chord. That's just a minor triad with a flat 7 and a 9 on top. So it's C minor 9. And then you take that shape and you just move it around. And you get lots of very hip, what we call modal chord progressions. You hear that like a lot, like you want like classic 90s house is like a lot of shit like that, where that's just literally like C minor 9 and then C sharp minor 9, right? It's like, oh, we're in Berlin in 1999. Oh, all right. I use modal chord progressions all the time. They're very fun. Hibs, what you got going on? Let's check out your track. Hibs, level 7 or level 6 producer. Very good. Working in Ableton excellently. Vocal extracted with Ableton. Okay. Good to know. Let's see what we got going on here.
Aime-moi doudou, montre-le-moi doudou. T'es mimi, dis-le-moi doudou. Montre-le-moi doudou. Et ça c'est quel comportement doudou. Tu me mens beaucoup. Ça c'est quel comportement doudou. Tu me mens beaucoup. Là c'est clair, il me fait tomber. Je le vois, laisse tomber. C'est qu'il est frais, je vois flou. Le peuple est là, c'est tout. J'ai dit oh. J'ai juré qu'on est plus que poteau. J'ai juré qu'on est plus que poteau. Parlons français, sois clair. J'ai passé l'âge de jouer. J'ai dit, toi et moi on se sait. N'en fais pas trop s'il te plaît. On perd déjà du temps à tester nos limites. La présence coûte cher, du moins que les mauvais bénéfices. En moi tu pourrais voir nos projets, l'avenir. Mais nous brûler les ailes, il faudrait éviter. Aime-moi doudou.
This is sick. This is fantastic.
Montre-le-moi doudou. T'es mimi, dis-le dis-le-moi doudou. Envoie-le-moi doudou. Et ça c'est quel comportement doudou. Tu me mens beaucoup. Ça c'est quel comportement doudou. Tu me mens beaucoup. Les soirs venus faut qu'on se mette à l'aise. Sinon laisse tomber. Tu peux chercher, elles n'ont pas le verre. Chérie laisse tomber. Les soirs venus faut qu'on se mette à l'aise. Sinon laisse tomber. Tu peux chercher, elles n'ont pas le verre. Chérie laisse tomber. Les à genoux pisteurs. Longue est la liste. Pour mériter ce qu'on veut. J'ai barré tous les dalles. Maintenant à nous deux. Il est dans ma tête. Cher, le cœur à la fête. Je crois bien qu'on est en osmose. Faut que ça s'arrête jamais. Non, jamais. Aime-moi doudou. Contrôle-moi doudou. Dis-le-moi doudou. Envoie-le-moi doudou. Et ça c'est quel comportement doudou. Tu me mens beaucoup. Ça c'est quel comportement doudou. Tu me mens beaucoup. Les soirs venus faut qu'on se mette à l'aise. Sinon laisse tomber. Tu peux chercher, elles n'ont pas le verre. Chérie laisse tomber. Les soirs venus faut qu'on se mette à l'aise. Sinon laisse tomber. Sinon laisse tomber.
I'm the wrong guy to do it. I'm a terrible keyboard player. I am. Yeah, I would not be the guy to do that. I am not I compose on keys. I can play guitar all day. I can shred a guitar solo on it, but no, I think some keys on it would be cool. No, this is great, man. It's super groovy. The production sounds really, really nice. Your mix sounds really nice. Yeah, I don't really have, what's up, DM Snowy? How's it going? Good to see you. Thanks for stopping in. Yeah, man, what were we looking for? Just mix master production style. It sounds great. The mix is really nice and full. You're not like overdoing it on the master. Everything's really punchy and clean. I guess one idea for you, and I'll demonstrate real quick. I'm kind like your kick is kind of functioning as the bass line, it feels like. The queue is absolutely open, DM Snowy. By all means, if you want to do feedback, exclamation point feedback in chat, we'll get you a link to a little Google Drive. If you don't mind just filling that out for me real quick, it's got a spot for you to put a link, as well as just a couple questions. Tells me a little bit more about the track, and like what you're looking for feedback on, etc. Here, let me pull up a thing here. But Hibbs, I guess the one thing that I'm missing is like a really, like a bass line.
Snowy _ wants feedback on their song.
Like a proper bass line of some kind. I think could be really nice here. I will say, like, your mix is killer. Your mix sounds great. You have a bass, perfect. I love it. But
en moi tu pourrais voir mon projet, l'avenir. Fais nous brûler les ailes, il faudrait éviter. Aime-moi doudou, contrôle-moi doudou. T'es mimi, dis-le-moi doudou. Envoie-le-moi doudou. Et ça c'est quel comportement doudou. Tu me mens beaucoup. Ça c'est quel comportement doudou. Tu me mens beaucoup. Les soirs venus faut qu'on se mette à l'aise, ouais. Sinon laisse tomber. Tu peux chercher, elles n'ont pas le verre.
Something it doesn't have to be that busy, but something in that register. If you have a bass in there, oh no, we hate ads. Oh no. Let me know when you're back. In the meantime, we'll just vibe. Oh, back. Okay, good. That was a quick one. Yeah, like I can hear there's a bass element in there. I couldn't tell if it was your kick or just something that's kind of like doing little single notes. I'm a bass player, like by trade, so mostly what I do is play bass and stuff. So I always like having really good, strong bass lines. But I do feel like either the bass that you have, you could bring up, or if you wanted to add. Because I think right now, like the bass that I'm here is just kind of going. Like it's just kind of playing that A over and over again, which is fine. But like a really good groovy bass line does a lot. You know, something a little more active with a little bit more movement, I think. Yeah, A, G, and C. Yeah. Something a little more active, I think, in the bass, and then bringing it up in the mix a little bit would benefit it. Problem with the Discord link. Oh, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, just submit the form and put whatever in that thing, and then you can put the link in chat. That's fine. But if you want a link to the Discord, Snowy, as well, here is that. But Hibbs, no, other than that, and that's really, like, the track sounds great. I'm not saying, like, oh, it's bad because it doesn't, not at all. It sounds awesome. But if you were looking for, like, an idea to play around with, more of an active, like, bass line kind of a thing would be kind of cool, I think. But other than that, it's awesome, man. It's super groovy. You've treated the vocals really well. The mix sounds great. Like I said, it's super clean. It's engaging the whole way through. You put like the breakdowns in really great places. The horn lines are very cool. So yeah, 5 stars. Great job, man. Great job. I'm not satisfied anymore. Oh no. Why are you not satisfied anymore? Do you want more bass now too? I mean, I do think more bass would sound cool. Anyways, let's see here. What do we got? Okay, yeah, DM Snowy. Yeah, DM, you can either, do we have, okay, here we go. Gotcha. Very good. Let's take a look at this. No, but Hibbs, thank you again for sharing. Super, super cool track. Let's take a look at Snowy's track. Working in FL, very good. You play guitar, excellent, me too. Looking for feedback on pretty much everything, and it is color bass. There's so many flavors of bass music that I am not familiar with. We have Zale, who's a friend of the channel, who does self-described flower bass. Turned 26 in like 2 hours. Oh yeah, it's your birthday. Very shortly. Happy birthday, man. You used more FM bass to give it a more club vibe, but it feels like it's empty. Oh yeah, for sure. Now that you played your thing, indeed. Yeah, Snowy. We usually just do one track per person per stream, but I stream pretty much every day, Monday through Friday. So I would love to take a look at another one on a future stream if you want to follow and stick around. But we will check out this Alive. Here, I'll turn this down because otherwise I'll just noodle over the whole thing. Woohoo! Delicioso. I love doing feedback on Twitch. It's very funny because when I started doing feedback on Twitch a while ago, I was like, oh man, I'm going to sit here and people are going to come in with like sort of mid-tier, SoundCloud rap. And I'm going to tell everybody the same 9 things. Instead, what is happening is just insane banger track comes in over and over and over and over again. So many ridiculously talented people come in here with so much incredibly cool music. This is sick, man. Your sound design is great. Your transitions are super creative. The arrangement is chef's kiss. I mean, like, how you've split everything up section-wise, how you're moving between the sections is phenomenal. Like, I got nothing for you. I mean, like... If I had to give you one piece of feedback, and this is barely even feedback, like... your top end is very present. That's like a comment that I would make. Not in a bad way. It feels very detailed. There's a few moments where, at least on my system here in my room, it verges on like a little bright for my taste. But that's not even really a criticism. That's just like a, you know, it's a bright mix. That's it. That's all I got for you. Like, it sounds fucking great. Yeah, like moments like right there, you've got so many really sparkly ear candy scents. I feel like up around like kind of, like the tiniest bit of nitpicking. You might want to watch around like 7K in the future. And you could do that with like a dynamic EQ, spectral compressor. There's a bunch of tools that you could use to just tame that a teeny tiny bit, because it is like, it feels there's moments where it feels a tiny bit pokey in those like lower highs / way upper mids, that kind of 5 to 7, 8K region, very similar to like the sibilance region on a vocal. I mean, and even that's like reaching. Your low end is super clean. Thank you, Super. Yeah, your editing and all your, like, I can hear how much automation you have going on. There's one moment where you do the triplet fill. Where is it? That's fucking phenomenal. That's great. Yeah, fabulous textures, fabulous sound design. Clearly a lot of attention to detail on your automation, which is really good. Incredibly creative, great treatment of the vocal. Very balanced, very clean mix. Yeah. If you wanted me to get very nitpicky, I would say like your top end might be a little bit pokey in a few spots. Other than that, yeah, that's all I got for you. Great job. 5 stars, A+. Hibbs as well. That's so far today. I think we've had 3 tracks for feedback, and we're 3 for free. They're all 3 have been absolute bangers. The other one was from Don't Know earlier in stream, who's a friend of the stream. I mean, I guess, Snowy, if you had any other thoughts where you're like, do you think this about anything specific? What's up, Jessica? Good to see you. I'd be happy to like listen more closely on something, but overall, I'm blown away. This is phenomenal. It's just great, great, great work. So thank you very much for sharing, man. And please come back anytime. I would love to hear more on your stuff. And like if you have stuff that's like in production at the moment or whatever, you are always welcome. But you can count me as a fan. That's for sure. Well, on that note, kids, I think I am going to go ahead. It's a little bit early, but I'm going to go ahead and wrap up for today. I need to do laundry, and our laundromat closes kind of early across the street. So I'm so sorry to bail as soon as you get here, Jessica, but me neat. It's bad. What is happening? 5 gifted. Goodness gracious. Super. You have a birthday. Birthday in 2 hours. You absolute lunatic. Chat, blow Super up for the gifteds. Super keeping the lights on. Our champion mod and sub supporter. Thank you so much, my guy. I really appreciate it. You're going for like a world record on Twitch right now. You have gifted 43 subs in my channel. It's ridiculous. It's bad. It is not bad, Snowy. It's phenomenal. It sounds fucking great. Thanks for the opportunity. Anytime, please, Snowy. Follow. You got a sub now, thanks to Super. Come back anytime. I would be more than happy to take a look at any of your other tracks. You're very, very talented, my friend. But yeah, everybody blow up Super for the support and blow up Super for his birthday. Because his birthday is very shortly. Happy birthday, buddy. And thanks for being around and being a part of our wacky little world here. But on that note, I am going to go ahead and sign off and go do some laundry, which is, not the most exciting thing in the world, but it is important. It must get done. So thank you guys very, very much for hanging out. I deeply appreciate each and every one of you. And I will be back on Monday for sure. Same time, same place, 2 p.m. Eastern time in the U.S. And we will keep going with all the neat things that we do. We are we're going to be debuting live looping soon. You guys saw a preview of that early on stream that I think was pretty neat. So that's going to be going up on YouTube probably. I don't know. Places, things going on. Yeah, all good. You're welcome, Juby, anytime. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great night, evening, afternoon, morning, whatever it is, wherever you're at. And we will see you guys on Monday. Thank you so very much. Bye.